Miles was a very typical kid who would stand too close to the television. And I was a very typical mom trying to pull him back away until I realized that he couldn't see unless he was right on top of it. And then unfortunately, we got the call from the kindergarten nurse. And the school nurse said Miles did not do well on his eye exam. And we didn't just have to take him to an optometrist. Miles was recommended to go to a pediatric ophthalmologist. One of the worst parts of Miles's diagnosis was him being 6 years old and the doctor using the term legally blind in front of our son.
The doctor didn't pull my parents into a side room. They just blurted it out. He's going blind. He said partially blind, but I just heard blind.
We were so worried about his future on every level when we found out.
We were absolutely in mourning. And we felt the grief. I think everybody wants to have that child that is able-bodied in every way. And anything that sacrifices any perfection makes us worry. How is his life gonna be? How are people gonna treat him? How will he be received? And it took a lot of steps to go to different doctors, find different resources. We found the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Somehow we were referred to Bascom Palmer, an eye hospital here in South Florida. And then the Lighthouse for the Blind of the Palm Beaches helped us to meet another person experiencing Stargardt's, who's an adult here in the local community.
We also made connections with people through support groups on Facebook.
We connected with a few parents early on whose kids were primarily older, and they gave us some hope.
Advocating for Miles in the early stages really had to do with educating his teachers and his school.
When Miles has been in school and had so much stress because he can't read and he can't focus, all of a sudden it got worse and it was really declining quickly.
A huge part of my growing up with Stargardt's, they calmed me down when I was like really frustrated, I couldn't see the stuff on the board at school.
When his sight declined, we had an emergency IEP meeting to remove him from the school he was in, and he got set up in a better school with a better program, a vision teacher, and an orientation mobility instructor.
When Miles's vision leveled off at around 2250 when he was 8 years old, then it just became adaptations on a daily basis, making sure that we had the right sunglasses for him, the right lighting around the house, made sure that his teachers knew exactly how to work with him, that he was getting the proper vision instruction at school, mobility instruction as well. On a day-to-day basis, life for Miles is like life for any other kid. He plays video games, he just sits very close to the TV. He can't read other than Braille, so if there's something he needs to read, we either read it to him or he has apps that read for him.
He learned how to self-advocate at an early age, but there's been a lot of evolution with his tools, interactive devices now. He uses JAWS on his laptop, which is gonna help him have things read to him all the time. And a Seeing AI app on his phone. When Miles learned how to mirror his phone to the TV, we can see things giant now. I like to say that we knew about Miles's gifts before we knew about his challenges. He found music and he self-soothes through the blues.
For him, he doesn't need to read music. He speaks music. He understands it on an innate level.
I think the best advice we could give to parents and families with Stargardt's patients is to come together, to try and do your best to understand each other's concerns so that you can band together and have the information that you all get be stuff that helps the family move forward.
One of the things that I would advise parents to do is to sort of pay attention to your kids' emotions when dealing with this and not project your own perceptions about blindness on your child. And when it comes down to it, our perceptions about it were much worse than it actually is. We knew he was not going to overcome Stargardt's disease. So it's about adapting to it and thriving and living your best life in the circumstances.
I felt really positive because Mom always brings out the bright side in things.
We would tailor our responses to what Miles was saying based on how much he could communicate. Was it sadness? Was it worry? Was it fear? And could we, as parents, answer those concerns comfortably and let him know, we think everything's gonna be all right. We think you're gonna get through this. You got this.